Chapter 8. Loops in Python. Loops in Python. A loop is a programming concept that allows you to repeat a specific set of instructions or actions multiple times until a certain condition is met. Imagine you have a task, such as counting from A to M. Instead of writing the alphabet manually, you can use a loop to make the computer do it for you. The loop will start at A, count to M, and each time it counts, it performs a predefined action, in this case, displaying the number. Once it reaches M, it stops. The while loop. The while loop is used to execute a block of statements repeatedly until certain condition is met. Once the condition becomes false, it stops the loop and moves on to the next line of instructions in the program. Syntax. While expression. Statements. Example. Enter while loop. Test expression. True. Body of while. False. Exit while loop. The else statement with while loop. The else part of your code only runs when the condition you set in the while loop becomes false. It won't run if you exit the loop early or if there's an error, exception, that interrupts the loop. Syntax. While condition. Execute these statements. Else. Execute these statements. Example. The for loop. When you know about how many times a body of a loop has to be executed, then you use a for loop. It is also called definite loop. Initialization, setting an initial value or condition. Condition, specifying when the loop should continue running. Iteration, defining how the loop's variable changes after each iteration. The loop continues to execute its code block as long as the specified condition remains true. It's commonly used for tasks such as iterating through elements in an array, performing a set number of iterations, or looping through a sequence of numbers. Syntax. For variable in sequence. Body of loop, statements. Example. For each item in sequence. Last item reached. True. Exit for loop. False. Statements. The range function. In Python, the range function is used to generate a sequence of numbers in the form of a list, so that it will be helpful in the for loop. For example, we want to return a true value using range function. Continue statement. The continue statement allows you to skip the current iteration and move on to the next one without completing the remaining code for the current iteration. Example. Output. Break statement. The break statement is used to exit the loop prematurely, even if the loop's original condition is still true. It is often used to terminate a loop when a particular condition is satisfied. Example. Output. Pass statement. In Python, pass statement is used to write empty loops. It is also used for empty control statements, functions, and classes. Example. Output. Functions in Python. If you are performing a big task or a complex task, you should break down into the small manageable tasks. This division enables us to manage the task that would be easily to perform. Similarly, Python provides functions, which are fundamental concepts. They allow you to create reusable codes, which can be invoked whenever needed. Functions make your code more organized, modular, and easier to understand. Parts of a function. Name of the function. A function name should be unique and meaningful as per the task it will perform. Arguments, parameters. The input given to the functions are called arguments. A function may or may not have any arguments. Return value. A function may or may not return a value. Functions can return values using the return statement. The return value can then be used in other parts of your program. Creating a function. In Python, you can create a function using def keyword. Any input data that the function needs, known as parameters or arguments, is specified within the parentheses. The function's code block is indented below the function definition. Syntax. Def less than name of the function greater than, list of arguments, less than body greater than. Calling a function. To call a function, you simply write its name followed by parentheses. You can provide the necessary arguments inside the parentheses, if required. Warm, brackets double quote John double quote brackets. Example. Def add underscore numbers, num1, num2. Return num1 plus num2. Num1 is equal to int, input. Double quote enter the first number, double quote. Num2 is equal to int, input. Double quote enter the second number, double quote. Result is equal to add underscore numbers, num1, num2. Print, double quote the sum of double quote, num1, double quote and double quote, num2, double quote is double quote. Result. String. A string is sequence of characters which is enclosed within single or double quotes. It can be a sequence of letters, numbers, special characters, etc. For example, name is equal to input, enter your name. Print, hello plus name. Creating a string. First underscore name is equal to double quote DPS double quote. Last underscore name is equal to double quote school double quote. str double quote double quote. Escape sequence. Escape sequences serve the purpose of incorporating special characters within a string that would otherwise be considered invalid in Python. Quotes, being one such special character, require the use of an escape sequence preceding them when inserting them into a string. Escape them with a slash character in front of them. For example, str is equal to double quote this is Rakesh's phone. Print str. Output, this is Rakesh's phone. Multiline strings. Python use triple quotes to write multiline strings. For example, print, Python is a programming language. I want to learn Python. You want to learn the same. Output. Python is a programming language. I want to learn Python. You want to learn the same. String functions. Let's learn about the built-in function of strings in Python. The len function. This function is used to calculate and return the length of a string, supplied as an argument. Example, str double quote Python double quote. Print bracket len bracket str bracket. Output. 6. The lower function. This function is used to convert all uppercase letters to lowercase. Example, Python.lower. Output, Python. The upper function. This function is used to convert all lowercase letters to uppercase. Example: Python.upper. Output: Python. Practice with Python. Program 1, using continue statement. Output: Program 2, using while loop. Output: Program 3, using for loop. Output. In summary, a loop allows you to repeat a specific set of instructions or actions multiple times until a certain condition is met. The while loop is used to execute a block of statements repeatedly until certain condition is met. The else part of your code only runs when the condition you set in the while loop becomes false. The break statement is used to exit the loop prematurely, even if the loop's original condition is still true. Functions allow you to create reusable codes, which can be invoked whenever needed. A string is a sequence of characters which is enclosed within single or double quotes. The lay function is used to calculate and return the length of a string supplied as an argument. Python uses triple quotes to write multi-line strings.